My name is Michael Roy Turney. I was born in 1948, 76 years old, part of the baby boomers who this last attempted assassination of President Donald J. Trump brings about deja vu of the 60s, three assassinations that occurred and how badly they were investigated by the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Department of Justice. My message today is based on, as I'll try to explain to you, my experience. Of course, I carry a lot of negativity about the Department of Justice getting involved in my missing daughter situation and creating criminal activity when there wasn't any. However, I want you to think about these things for a moment. In some of my experience, when President Richard Nixon came to Arizona State at the Camelback Inn, I was on the Maricopa County Deputy Sheriff and part of the group that provided security for President Nixon. And I remember the Secret Service with all their automatic weapons and a massive amount of them having people even on Camelback Mountain, helicopters, the whole 9 yards. So the bottom line of it is whether or not this was a completely political or not, you got to ask the simple question. How in the hell could anybody, whether it be the local police or whether it be your federal government people, overlook a rooftop 130 yards away from the President of the United States? Now, what you're going to hear from our news media entertainment people is that, well, technically, he had not been anointed by the Republican Party to be the candidate for them. Therefore, he didn't deserve all the security. I want you to remember, this is an ex-president of the United States running against another political party, a very vicious campaign. So that's something that doesn't happen, folks. And though my experience is clear back in the 70s and limited, I can tell you right now, whoever decided to leave that rooftop open, there's a lot to be looked into that. And let me tell you right up front, the Secret Service did not save Donald J. Trump. Donald J. Trump did, and fate. That kid was dead on the mark. It was going to hit him on the side of the head. There's no doubt in that in the least bit. And that shot at 130 yards, you could have done that with a .22 Magnum rifle. But the point of it is Donald Trump just happened to turn his head at the right moment in time, and it only got his ear. Number two, you got a 76-something guy. I mean, he's the same age as I am, and here's this man with reflexes of a 20-year-old and enough sense of a 20-year-old man to duck down and go to the protection he knew existed with that platform, a bulletproof. That's amazing, folks. It really is that a man could do that at his age. But you certainly won't see that from some of the other people running around. So my issue being in this is that we need, as Americans, and believe me, we Americans have saved this nation so many times from bad politicians, and it's just unbelievable. The bottom line of it is the last people that you want to investigate this, and this is based on our past history of how badly it was done, is the FBI or the Department of Justice. You do not want them involved in this the least bit. They have proven over and over again they're pawns. It's been exposed over and over again. They were used to investigate Donald J. Trump to come up with this stuff. And you got to remember, for those of us that do know a little bit about the law, it's quite simple, folks. You don't take a misdemeanor, especially campaign finance money, inappropriate stuff. I mean, you could actually charge everyone in Washington, D.C. with that. Because it goes on every basis because they believe they have a right to do that and no one's going to be charged with it. So, whether it's a conspiracy before the fact or after the fact, because we'll never be able to prove the conspiracy before John F. Kennedy or the conspiracy before Bobby Kennedy, okay? I think Martin Luther King's is pretty well set in concrete who all was involved that could have prevented that from happening when that tragedy happened. But the point being is that after the fact, these people are just as criminally liable as the people that did it. And to have an excuse saying, well, Donald Trump hadn't been actually selected as the candidate, therefore he didn't deserve all that security, is a crock. The fact that the local police department, even though it's outside the alleged security area, didn't want to keep somebody off that roof, it's not a mistake. The Secret Service did not save Donald Trump that day. He did. The sensibility to duck and cover himself even though most of the shooting had already stopped. The fact that people saw somebody on the roof, I mean, there's just something wrong with that whole scenario. But we've been through this before. For those of us who read, and believe me, I read every report from the FBI I could about John F. Kennedy's assassination through all these years, Bobby Kennedy's. I mean, there's just too much behind the scenes stuff that's left unanswered. And this philosophy that your government thinks that we as a people are too stupid and can't handle the truth because it would destroy our democracy or our country is a crock, people. We are unique. We're the greatest people on this planet because we come from all over the planet. And our ancestors came here for the same damn reason. Freedom. Free from tyranny. But folks, you're living under it right now. And I can guarantee you, I just did an email or a YouTube yesterday about the double standard in reference to the Bill of Rights when a criminal case. Well, Alec Baldwin himself, because he had high-dollar lawyers, was able to file a corpus delicti at the beginning of his trial. Because in my case, Brady was violated on a regular basis, just like his was. Whenever you withhold evidence like the Phoenix PD, the city of Phoenix, the county attorney's office, the state, and even the FBI was involved in the task force in my case, folks. That's a fact. I got all that evidence and sat there with my mouth open and said, my God. When you can get that and the Bill of Rights and my right to get all that evidence. Now, my public defenders were excellent. I mean, they actually showed that good judge that there never was any evidence because it just simply didn't happen. But the problem is the fact that it should have never got that far because that corpus delicti, which used to happen when I was a deputy sheriff at the beginning, before people were thrown in dungeons with $500,000 cash bonds, military arrests and all this kind of stuff, which showed the federal government was involved in that bull crap. So but with this situation, we cannot you need to write your congressman, call them, do whatever you want to do. And if you're going to have a protest, make it peaceful, for calamity's sakes. We are Americans, and we've proven how aggressive we can be throughout our entire history. And that's just the way we are. But that doesn't mean we need to let this get away with. We cannot let the FBI. When I was a kid, I used to hear the old folks say things like, well, if you got somebody that broke into the chicken pen and stole your chickens, the last person you want to hire to investigate that is the fox. You don't want the Department of Justice, the FBI, involved in this investigation. They're going to do the same damn thing they did on both Kennedys, Martin Luther King, and the other assassination attempts. Who knows what went on. I didn't even waste my time to believe it, honestly, because the fact once I knew CIA Bush was involved in reference when Ronald Reagan was shot, I just threw my hands up and knew there was no way on the planet you're going to get any of the right evidence. But the question still looms over you. How did somebody as bad off as that guy was get that close to the President of the United States? I was back in the 70s, folks, and somebody even looked strange was not allowed with anywhere near Richard Nixon. So anyway, I only put this on it because I just can't stand to see another cover-up by the Department of Justice for political reasons. And believe me, your FBI is a pawn, totally. And as soon as you let people, actually Ross Perot did it to us, let people with the criminal association of the Clintons into that White House, and they have absolute sovereign immunity, can't be touched with a 10-foot pole, but you can go after Donald J. Trump on a misdemeanor charge that was completely out past statute of limitations and then created into a felony. And you get somebody from the Department of Justice to go down to the state level to sue? Oh, come on, folks. You can't be that. We can't be that stupid. But this is something that we need to really consider. And do I have a lot of vast experience? No, but I can tell you this much. Your Department of Justice, and believe me, it's not just federal. I mean, the state of Arizona has used its government to assassinate people, literally, physically, as well as destroyed their character, impeach them and everything else, who was going against the criminal activities that are allowed in this state itself. I mean, they learned their lesson. You don't blow up Associated Press reporters like happened in 77 with Don Bolles, because it just brings too much attention and ruins business on our wide open border. So, for the sake of America and we the people, though Donald Trump may not be the best in some people's minds, he is a start. And then after that, we need, for their children's children, to vote out every damn incumbent for the next 2 decades. None of them deserving to be there that long, like slugs, like Pelosi, Schumer, and even Joe Biden. You know, regardless of what you think, you may think he's the greatest guy on the planet, but folks, he's been there so long. And I mean, you got to imagine what Donald Trump saw when he walked in there the first time. He called it, "We're going to drain the swamp." I think what he saw and stunk to high heaven was a cesspool, and total shock, and doesn't know what to do about it, because people tell, "You can't bring it up, Donald, you can't bring it up, that'll destroy it, America, you got to have confidence," all this kind of stuff. And this man, they've done everything you could possibly do to a candidate. This is insane. But anyway, regardless, the issue of this is we've got to tell our representatives, if that's what they are, stop taking campaign finance money from any foreign country that wants to give it. Drug cartels, human traffickers, and all that other crap. And just don't let the FBI investigate and cover this up again. This kid, who the hell knows what he was like, but how in the hell did he get the opportunity to go to be there? And evidence is beginning to surface, if it proves out to be true, that people knew it within minutes, but didn't dive on Donald Trump before the shooting took place. He's just lucky he turned his head at the right moment in time. So whether you believe that's some kind of profound message from God or whatever it is, I'm telling you, you do not want to keep a Washington slug, and I don't care who they put up there. You can't have people who rolled over to this criminal activity that's running our country right now. We're the greatest people in the world, folks. Our ancestors came from all over the world looking for freedom from tyranny. My God, we're under tyranny right now. You could be thrown in jail if a cop lies under oath and he's never held accountable for it. Just like my case. Those cops lied about all of that. But because the U.S. Supreme Court says a cop can lie under oath for a search warrant, he can lie to a grand jury and there's no accountability. And I've got court documents, recent ones from our federal district court, saying just exactly that. That's wrong, folks. It's not America. We're not perfect. We have a lot of problems, but this is serious. We are in a lot of trouble. And we, the people, are the ones that need to come forth and change this. You're not going to get it from any elected official unless you get these people to finally stand up and say, look, all right, that's enough. The legislative branch, is going to step in, and there's not going to be a Department of Justice, which is the executive branch, folks. Okay? They're not going to investigate this crime. Thank you much. I wish you luck, because believe me, I mean, anybody in my age group that didn't feel deja vu when they saw this, I mean, maybe we are just getting that old. Good luck to you. Good luck to America.